The other day, we were talking about Four Noble Truths. The first noble truth is the noble truth of suffering. That's how you heard. Noble truth of suffering. According to my understanding, that word is not suitable. Suffering. Because when you hear the word suffering, you feel that something pain, maybe physical or mental pain. But the thing is, the first noble truth is not suffering. It's not about mental or physical pain. It's a wisdom, ladies and gentlemen. You need to achieve that wisdom. And before you achieve that wisdom, you should know about the first noble truth. Actually, the first noble truth in Pali, we use jati. It's a Pali term, jati. That means false sense of existence. False sense of existence. That's the first noble truth. Maybe you are not familiar with this. Because you don't have any idea. Because you feel this. You perceive this. You think that this is yourself. This is you. You feel your existence. Actually, ladies and gentlemen, you feel your existence. This is not your existence. Because the mind is a process. Sometimes you think that mind is also an entity. The body is also an entity. Everything is an entity. That's how you feel. Feel means that's how you perceive. Therefore, when I talk about jati, that means false sense of existence, you won't believe this. It's really difficult for me to tell this, you to understand. Because you need to perceive this. It's really difficult for you to understand this. But let's understand this bit. Let's understand the Lord Buddha's Dhamma, which is Lord Buddha's doctrine. Through that, you can understand about your mind first. Before we come to jati, which means before we come to the first noble truth, we will talk about your mind and the Lord Buddha's doctrine. Because if you can understand the Lord Buddha's doctrine, then you will easily understand about Four Noble Truths. Four Noble Truths also are included in Lord Buddha's doctrine, but Lord Buddha has taught us the nature of this world. We came to this world, but we don't know about the world. Therefore, we do things to make ourselves happy because we don't know about happiness. We try to do many things to make ourselves happy, but we couldn't achieve it so far. We have been doing this for a long time, but nobody achieved it yet. Happiness. Everybody thinks that happiness is something you had to create. Because everybody feels that everything is an entity. Therefore, most people try to achieve happiness, try to create happiness, because they don't know about the reality of the world. Because they perceive entities all the time. Therefore, they believe that happiness also an entity and we can achieve it, we can create it. Therefore, they try to create happiness. They work hard to create happiness. They think that by using money, they can create happiness. They can be happy by using money. That's why they earn. Everybody wants to do a job, not only for 4 requisites. That's not enough for them. And you also. That's not enough for you. Therefore, you need a job. You need a proper job. You need huge amount of money to satisfy yourself. That's how you think. You think that money will satisfy you. Or money will buy everything for you. But the thing is, you may have seen very rich people who are suffering. They do many things to make themselves happy, but they couldn't achieve it so far. The reason is, they didn't see the truth. They believe that everything is an entity in this world because they don't know the truth. To understand the truth, they need to listen to the Lord Buddha's Dhamma. That means they need to follow the Lord Buddha's doctrine. Because Lord Buddha came to this world to teach about the reality of the world. That's why if you want to achieve your salvation, then you need to listen to the Dhamma first. Here, there are some people, they want to achieve their salvation, but they don't want to listen to the Dhamma, and they don't know that they had to listen to the Dhamma first of all, and they had to understand the Dhamma. Therefore, when they want to achieve their salvation and they believe that Buddhism will help them, therefore they start to meditate. Because they think that meditation will cure their problem. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, meditation will cure your problem. But first of all, you need to understand what is the meaning of meditation. Meditation means practice. Now I want you to practice. Okay, now go and practice. Let's take an example. You want to become a piano player. Now I'm a teacher. I'm a piano teacher. You come to me. Then say, I want to be a piano player. Then I would say, very good. Go and practice. Will you do that? If I ask you to go and practice, will you do that? You can't do it because you don't know what to practice. Of course, practice is necessary. But first of all, you should know what to practice. That's why when you come to Buddhism, you need to learn Buddhism before you practice. Otherwise, you don't know anything to practice. That's why, first of all, you need to listen to the Dhamma and understand it properly. Now here, let's understand this properly. Lord Buddha wanted to teach us the truth of the world. Nobody can see it apart from the Buddha. Because if you want to see the truth of the world, you have to develop your mind unlimited. You have to develop your mind unlimitedly, like Lord Buddha has done. Then finally, he has seen the world. He has seen the nature of nature. And he taught us with 3 words. One is anicca. The second thing is dukkha. Third thing is anatta. If we don't know about these 3 words, if we don't know about these 3 characteristics of nature, we can't understand nature. You all know that you are also an element of nature. Do you believe it or not? You are also a part of nature. Humankind is a subset. And you are an element. Can you remember set in maths? You are an element. That means you are a part of nature. If you are a part of nature, and if you don't know the main characteristics of nature, definitely you will suffer. If you go to London and if you don't know the law of London, then you will suffer. You will be punished. That's what happened to you, ladies and gentlemen. You came to this world, but you don't know the reality of this world. You don't know all the laws of this world. But luckily, you know gravitational laws. That's why you don't jump from a skyscraper. Because you know the gravitational law. That's why I'm telling you, if you associate this world, if you stay in this world, you should know all the laws. Otherwise, how can you protect yourself? Let's assume that someone lives in this world, but he doesn't know about gravitational law. He doesn't know about the gravitational attraction force. Then he might jump from somewhere. Then he will die. And you should know that if you drink poison, you will die. Then if you don't know these things, how can you survive? And if you can understand that bit, if you don't know reality of the world, reality of nature, then how can you survive? That's why you can't survive, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you have vexation all the time in your mind. You are vexed all the time. That's why you feel your life is miserable. That's why you want to do something all the time. Sometimes you spend your all money and try to make yourself happy. When will you stop this? You have been doing this for a long time, but you are still doing it. You can't stop. Even though you want to stop, you can't do that because of vexation. When the mind is created, it is vexed. Therefore, the mind wants to do something to come out of that. Therefore, it does something. And that chitta and that mind passes away. After that, another mind is created with vexation. Therefore, it has to do something again. That's why people keep doing things. Sometimes they don't know why they do that. Sometimes they don't know about it. Let's assume that someone is dancing. Go and ask him, why do you dance? When you dance, if I ask you, why do you dance? Do you have a question? Do you have an answer for that? Why do you dance? If I ask, what's your favorite color? Then you will say, blue is my favorite color. Okay. Why? Why don't you like red color? Did it kill you? Did it destroy your properties? Red color? You don't like red color. You like blue color. If I ask what's the reason, and You will laugh because you don't have an answer for that. But you like to see blue color, therefore you always see blue color. You try to paint your walls, paint your entire house, and you will see blue color. And after that, you want to get married. And that person also has a favorite color. Let's assume that it's rose color or pink color. Then how can you live together happily with harmony? You have to sacrifice. If you want to have a good family life, then you have to sacrifice. Because which color you gonna paint in your bedroom? On walls? Which color you're gonna use? Because your favorite color is blue color and her favorite color is pink color. Then if you want to have a happy family life, you have to sacrifice. How long can you do this? How long can you tolerate? Every time when you see the wall, then you will see pink color. But you want to see blue color. That's how you enjoy. That's your favorite color. Favorite color means when you see that, you can be happy. You think that that's happiness. Therefore, you try to see it all the time. Because you think that happiness can be created. As well as can be destroyed. Therefore, you blame others for destroying your happiness. And you try to make yourself happy. You try to create happiness. And if you fail to make it, then you think that someone destroys it. That means you don't know about happiness, ladies and gentlemen. Happiness can't be created or destroyed. It is always in your mind. The natural state of mind is happy. Now also, even though you can't feel it, happiness is created in your mind. When the mind is created, happiness is there. You don't have to look for happiness. Don't try to. If you try to look for happiness, you won't be able to achieve it. Because if you try to achieve happiness, that means you are vexed. You are vexed, that's why you want to be happy. If you are vexed right now, in the next moment, if you want to be happy, what about this moment? Because this moment exists, but next moment doesn't exist, ladies and gentlemen. Can you go to future? Can you go to past? This moment exists. But if you think about past and future, it doesn't exist. Then if you have expectations to make yourself happy in the future, right now you are suffering. That's why you want to be happy. If you are not suffering, you don't want to be happy. If you are happy at the moment, then you don't want to be happy. If you try to be happy, or if you try to create happiness, that means now you are suffering. That's the thing. You always feel vexation, ladies and gentlemen, because at the moment, that means in this chitta, in this mind, you always feel vexation. Therefore, you try to make yourself happy in next chitta, but when it comes to next chitta, it becomes this chitta. That means it becomes present again. But the thing is, you feel that you have a future and you had the past and you are having the present moment. That means you have created an entity. That entity is you. If I ask about yourself, you can talk about past things and your future expectations and whatever you feel right now. That means past, future, and present is you. But I have a question. If you believe in the present, tell me, how many minutes are there in the present? How many minutes are there in the present? No minutes? Okay, then let's reduce it. How many seconds are there? Can't say? Okay. How many milliseconds are there? How many microseconds are there? Nanoseconds, picoseconds? You can't find it. Then what's the present? Think about it. To understand this, you need to understand the Lord Buddha's doctrine. That's why I'm telling you, this is the theory of everything. If you can't explain anything, then use Lord Buddha's doctrine, then you will explain that. With the understanding of the doctrine. The theory of cause and effect. That's the theory of everything. When you study the theory of cause and effect, then you will realize that this time is an illusion. Then all the time you talk about time and you always say that the time is money. Time is not money. Time is an illusion, ladies and gentlemen. Time is an illusion. Then you spend time to earn money. That's how you say. I spend a lot of time to earn money. What I'm saying is, time is an illusion. You didn't spend time. You didn't spend time, ladies and gentlemen. You spend your life to earn money. Look at you. That means that entity is stable and permanent and fixed. But time runs. That's how you feel. Because you think that this is an entity. Because the mind has created it all the time due to ignorance and attachment. Those are the defilements of the mind. When the mind is defiled with ignorance and attachment, that's how you feel. You feel that this entire thing is an entity. But remember this, one day you will realize with the Lord Buddha's doctrine, you will realize that nothing is an entity in this world. But that's how you perceive, because of the defiled mind. Now you feel your existence and you think that it's permanent and it's fixed. But time is flying. Time runs. That's how you feel. Because you were there and you are here right now and you will be there in the future. That's how you feel. But remember this. At the moment, when the causes are there and effect is created, this is the truth. When causes come together and effect is created, that's the truth. That's how we can define present. If you want to define the present, you can't use seconds for that. You can't use time. If you can use time, tell me. How many seconds or milliseconds? You can't use time. That's why I told you that the time is an illusion. But here, if you want to explain the present, that's you have to use the theory of cause and effect. When you use theory of cause and effect, you can explain everything. Okay, explain fire. If you want to create a fire, you know what to do. You should need fuel, you should need oxygen, and you should need critical temperature. When you have all these three, you don't need fire anymore. When you add all these three together, then you will see fire. That means fire is created. When the causes are there, when the causes are there, the effect is created. But effect is not a fixed thing. It's not an entity. If it is an entity, it can't be created with causes. When you add all the causes, then the effect is created. But this effect is not a fixed thing. If you want to eradicate this effect, what can you do? If you don't want this effect, what do you do? Can you eradicate it? You can't eradicate the effect because it's an effect. Can you understand the meaning of effect, ladies and gentlemen? It's an effect. Effect means it's not a fixed thing. It's an effect. When the causes come together, effect is created. And when the causes are not there, you can't have this effect anymore. Because it's an effect. If you put two spotlights and it has an effect, you can create an effect on the wall by putting two spotlights. But if you don't want that effect, what can you do to that effect? You can't do anything to effect. But if you don't want it, you need to eradicate a cause. If you can eradicate the cause, at least one, then you will see another effect. If you don't like that effect also, you need to change or you need to eradicate another cause. Then you will see another effect. This is how the world is. The theory of cause and effect. Now you know about fire. If you want to extinguish fire, what do you do? What do you use? Do you have any special equipment, any special chemical to extinguish fire? No, you all know that. You use carbon dioxide because carbon dioxide is the enemy. Carbon dioxide can destroy oxygen. Now, destroy means not destroy oxygen, but fire can't be created with carbon dioxide. That's why we add carbon dioxide into that. When we can avoid oxygen, that means we remove one cause. When we remove one cause, we can't see the effect anymore. Now you can see. If you can understand that, then you will realize that everything is happening according to cause and effect theory. That means when the causes are ready, an effect appears. If you can understand that, you should be very happy because now you are suffering, then suffering also an effect. If you can understand that, then you can start a new journey. Because if you know that this suffering or vexation, both of them are effects, then you can start a new journey to stop that. Because you know that suffering is a process. Vexation is a process. Then if it is a process, then suffering can't be an entity. If it is a process, it can't be an entity. And vexation is an entity, then it should be a process. If it is a process, we can start the process as well as we can stop the process. If it is a process, then first of all, you need to understand that this suffering and vexation and pleasure, whatever you have felt so far, whatever you have seen so far, whatever you have perceived so far, everything is a process. That's the first thing you need to understand. If you can understand that according to theory of cause and effect, then you will see the first noble truth. The noble truth of suffering, which means jati, in Pali terms, jati, which means false sense of existence. That means your existence also a process, ladies and gentlemen, but this existence is false sense of existence. That means you sense it. You means actually the mind sense it. Just tell me about this. You feel that this body is yours. You feel that this mind is yours. Then who are you? I'm going to take your mind and body both. Then think, I'm going to take your mind. If you think that the body is there, the mind is there, and you are also there, okay, I'll keep you on this chair and I'm going to take your body and the mind. Now think. Think about yourself. Can you think about yourself? Can you feel anything? You use your body and mind. But the thing is, the mind always feels its existence due to ignorance and attachment. In the future, I will explain to you everything about the process. There's a process, ladies and gentlemen. According to that process, you perceive this. Actually, I can't say you perceive this. If I say you perceive this, then you think that actually you perceive this. It doesn't happen like that. The mind perceives it. The mind believes that, or mind perceives that it's an entity. That's why you feel your existence. Mind feels its existence. Mind feels it, not you. Mind perceives it, not you. When the mind perceives that, the mind thinks that this is me. That's how you think this is you. Does that make sense to you? This is so hard. Sometimes this is the first time you listen to these things. It happened to me also. But don't give up. Hang in there. We will talk about this. This is hard. That's why I told you, before you meditate, before you practice, you have to learn a lot. You have to take the doctrine first and understand the doctrine first. Then you should be able to apply and contemplate the doctrine. Then you will realize the world through the Dhamma. If you can understand that everything is a process, that's the first thing I want you to do. You need to understand this. That means you need to learn the theory of cause and effect and realize that everything is a process in this world. Then to understand that, you can apply it to anything you want. You can apply it to this fan, this camera, to your body, and you know that your body is made up of 4 basic elements. If I take all 4 basic elements, or if you don't know about 4 basic elements, I would say subatomic particles. You know, electron, proton, and neutrons. You are made of subatomic particles. If I take all subatomic particles out of this body, what will remain? Nothing remains here. Then can't you understand that it's also a process? The body is not an entity. Because it is made of something. It is made of subatomic particles. It's made of atoms. It's made of compounds. And this body is also not an entity. It's a process. If you want, you can change it. When you exercise, you can change this body. When you eat more, you can change this body. It's not a fixed thing. It's also a process. You can change as you wish. The mind is also a process. And you feel about your existence. That's also a process. And you are suffering. That's also a process. You are vexed. That's also a process. From time to time, you feel pleasure. That's also a process. What else do you want to know? This camera is a process. If you don't want this camera, what do you do? Will we place it here? Will we place it over there if you don't want the camera? But it's there then. This is the effect. If you don't want this effect, you need to dismantle it. If you can dismantle it, then you won't see a camera anymore. But if you want to see the effect again, what will you do? Then you assemble it. When you assemble it, the camera appears. When you dismantle it, the camera disappears. If you take all the subatomic particles from your body, it disappears. When we put it back, then it appears. Now you can see this. It is also an effect. Your mind is also an effect. In the future, we will teach you how the mind is created. But the thing is, most people think that mind is also an entity. You were born with your mind. That's how people think. This is the mind you had before. This is the mind you are having and you will have in the future. People think that mind is a machine. But the mind is not a machine, ladies and gentlemen. It is a process. It's an energy process. It's a process of energy. It's like this light. You can see the light energy. It is a process. You know that. To create this process, we need a dynamo, we need a turbine, we need a dam, we need water. By using hydroelectricity, we can create this process. Then finally, we need to switch the light on. Then finally, we'll see the light. It's also a process. If you don't want this process, if you don't want this light, then you can stop the process. Then you should be happy. Otherwise, if this is an entity, and if you can't change this, if it is a fixed thing, and if you can't change that, then what will you do? Then you have to suffer. We should be lucky because the world is anicca. This is another word, anicca. You should learn this one because in the future we will use this. Anicca. I've told you before, anicca, dukkha and anatta. You should know about this. And anicca is when the causes come together, an effect is created. That's called anicca. That means everything is a process. That's called anicca. Everything is a process. When causes come together, an effect is created. Everything is anicca. That means everything is a process. Try to understand that. Everything is a process. That means it can be created. That means when the process starts, an effect is created. When the process stops, it doesn't create. Nothing is there to destroy. Nothing is there to eliminate. Try to understand this because it was a process and it was not an entity. It was an effect. If it was an effect, it's only an effect. I don't know whether you can understand this or not, but let's try to understand this. It was a process and it was an effect. If it was an effect, you don't have to remove because it was not a fixed thing to remove. You don't have to remove, you don't have to eliminate. You just need to stop the process. If you start the process, it appears. If you stop the process, it disappears. You don't have to erase it because it was an effect. You don't have to erase, you don't have to eliminate it. Like your body. Now I put all the subatomic particles, now it appears. Then if I don't want this body anymore, I'll take it back. When I take all the subatomic particles back, what will remain? Nothing remains. Then do I have to wipe something out from there? Do I have to erase? Then tell me about your body. Isn't that an effect? You don't have anything to wipe out. It was a process. And when subatomic particles come together, this appears. And when we remove all the subatomic particles, it disappears because it was an effect. Now, let's talk about suffering. Then suffering also the same. Suffering also an effect. Therefore, if you can find all the causes and remove them, then suffering won't be created anymore. Because suffering is also an effect and a process. There's a process. If you can stop that process by removing all the causes, then suffering won't appear anymore. Now tell me, what's your problem? If this body is your problem, then we can sort it out. If you don't like this light, we can sort it out. If you don't like this camera, we can sort it out. What do you want now? Look, if you can understand the theory of cause and effect, you can win this world. Because if you don't want anything, then you can work accordingly. Because you have understood that nothing is an entity in this world, nothing is fixed in this world. Everything is an effect in this world. Everything is an effect and everything is a process. Therefore, we can stop process if we know all the causes. If you don't want this light, switch it off. Because the switch also a cause. Then if you can remove that, then you won't see light anymore. If the suffering is your problem, then what can we do? We will find the causes of suffering. Because now we have understood that it's an effect. That means there should be many causes. Then we will find the causes and we will remove them. When we remove them, then suffering won't exist anymore. Therefore, in the future, we will learn about this. I want you to check this out with your experience. Don't believe me. Don't believe the Dhamma. You believe yourself. That's what we need. Take the Dhamma and apply it. Apply it to fire. Apply it to your body. Apply it to your mind. And try to see. Try to understand about anicca, which means everything is a process. That means it rises and passes away. Rises means but when I say rises, I don't think you can get the proper meaning what I meant. Right? When causes come together, an effect is created. An effect is created. Again, I emphasize this, an effect is created. If you can see everything as and effect, you will understand the world. Actually, you have experienced this. You have experienced this, but the problem is you can't perceive this because you use the mind which is defiled with ignorance and attachment. That's the problem. Then if we can remove ignorance and attachment, if we can eradicate the ignorance and attachment, then you will see the world properly. That's why we need the Lord Buddha's Dhamma to cleanse your mind of defilements. And we can do this. There's a path to practice. And first of all, let's understand the Dhamma. And once you have a proper understanding about the Dhamma, let's start to contemplate. When you contemplate the Dhamma, you will see the path and you can walk along the path finally. May the blessings of the Noble Triple Gem be with you all. Thank you.